40 minutes ago, a Republican congressman named Thomas Massie, co-author of the very law that forced the Epstein files into the open, did something no one in that room was braced for.
He didn't shout. He didn't wave papers around like a prop. He simply looked straight at Attorney General Pam Bondi, held up evidence in front of every live camera, and caught her red-handed hiding a name in documents Congress had demanded be made public.
Not a victim's name.
Not a witness. A co-conspirator.
A billionaire the FBI itself had flagged as potentially involved in Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. When Massie laid the proof out for the world to see, Bondi didn't deny it.
She went on the attack, called him a failed politician, accused him of Trump derangement syndrome.
If you think you already know how this plays out, hold that thought.
What unfolded over the next 7 minutes will shift how you view this entire investigation.
Subscribe right now and turn on notifications. What I'm about to walk you through isn't just one hidden name. It's a system, a pattern, and a lawmaker from the president's own party who refused to stay silent when his own side tried to bury evidence.
I've followed congressional hearings for years. I've seen witnesses duck and weave.
I've seen politicians shield their allies. But I've never watched a Republican chairman look at a Republican attorney general and say, on camera, on the record, I caught you red-handed, and mean it. That happened February 11th, 2026, House Judiciary Committee oversight session.
The room was full. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse seated in the gallery, dressed in white, eyes fixed on the action. Cameras everywhere. And Thomas Massie, engineer by training, libertarian-leaning representative from Kentucky, co-sponsor of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, waiting for his moment.
He wasn't there to perform. He was there because he'd spent the previous 2 days in a secure DOJ reading room, poring over unredacted versions of the Epstein files.
The same files Congress had ordered released. The same files Bondi's department had handed over with thousands of redactions that made no sense. Massie had spotted something. One particular redaction, one name that had no business being hidden. And he was about to make Bondi explain it in front of the entire country. Flashback to November 2025.
Massie and Democrat Ro Khanna introduced the Epstein Files Transparency Act, bipartisan from the start.
The law mandated the DOJ release all unredacted Epstein records.
No carve-outs for powerful people. It passed. Trump signed it.
When the deadline hit, the DOJ dropped files riddled with thousands of redactions that didn't add up. Survivors' names left exposed.
Victims' details published.
But powerful men's names blacked out. Massie and Khanna warned of contempt charges.
They publicly called it a cover-up.
And on February 11th, 2026, Massie sat across from Bondi armed with proof she couldn't dismiss. You probably think you know the ending. Most expect the AG to deflect, and the story dies. Keep that guess in your pocket, because what Massie did and what Bondi admitted will prove you wrong.
Mid-morning, Rayburn House Office Building.
Hearing already running over an hour.
Democrats had pressed Bondi hard on the redactions. Jamie Raskin opened by pointing to survivors in the room, accusing Bondi of orchestrating a massive Epstein cover-up. Pramila Jayapal asked Bondi to turn and apologize to the victims behind her.
Bondi refused, called it theatrics, pivoted to slamming Merrick Garland. The pattern was obvious. Democrats attack, Bondi deflects, Republicans shield.
Standard partisan script. Then Thomas Massie's turn arrived.
He didn't launch with broadside accusations. He started narrow, specific, evidence-based, zeroed in on one document, one name. The temperature in the room changed instantly.
When Massie asks a tight question, it's because he already knows the answer and is about to make you admit it on the record.
Attorney General Bondi, Massie began. Voice calm, almost conversational, the tone of someone who doesn't need volume because the facts are about to carry the weight. I want to ask about something I found while reviewing the unredacted Epstein files this week. He raised a document, printed, highlighted, the kind of prop that signals this moment was prepared. This is an FBI record.
It lists individuals linked to the Epstein investigation.
And in this record, one name is flagged by the FBI as a potential co-conspirator.
He paused. Not for drama, for precision, making sure every syllable landed cleanly on the permanent record.
But when your department released this document to the public, that name was redacted. Can you explain why the name of a potential co-conspirator was concealed?
The room stilled.
Not polite anticipation, the tense hush of people sensing something is about to break open. Bondi adjusted in her chair. You could see it? The slight shift? The quick glance toward her staff. She knew the ground was shifting.
She just didn't yet know how far.
She tried the standard pivot to process.
Congressman, as I've explained repeatedly, the department worked around the clock to meet Congress's deadline.
We balanced transparency with victim protection and ongoing investigative needs.
That's not my question. Massie didn't raise his voice.
I didn't ask about your process.
I asked about one specific name.
Why was it redacted? Bondi tried again.
There are multiple reasons names might be redacted. Privacy, ongoing matters, grand jury rules. This name, Massie cut in, still calm but firmer, is not a victim. This name is not a witness seeking anonymity.
This is a name the FBI itself identified as a potential co-conspirator. He paused again. So let me ask once more. Why was this specific name hidden from the American people? Then, Massie said the name aloud, on the record, in front of every camera.
Les Wexner. Stop here for a second. If you followed this far, and you're starting to feel the weight of what just happened, drop a like on this video right now. Seriously, the algorithm decides who sees this, and this story needs to reach people.
Leave a comment with what you're thinking. Let's keep going, because what Bondi did next is when she realized she'd been caught.
Les Wexner, billionaire, former Victoria's Secret CEO, longtime Epstein associate.
The man who handed Epstein power of attorney over his finances.
His name appears thousands of times in the files. Never charged.
But his Epstein ties have raised questions for years. And, according to the FBI document Massie held, a name flagged as a potential co-conspirator.
Someone at the DOJ had hidden that from the public, not to protect a victim, not to preserve an active case, but to shield a billionaire.
When a congressman exposed it, they fixed it in 40 minutes, proving the redaction was never legally required.
It was a choice.
A deliberate decision to protect someone powerful.
That's not a clerical error.
That's concealment. Massie forced Bondi to admit it without ever saying the word cover-up.
Because sometimes the refusal to answer is the answer itself.
The hearing rolled on. Ted Lieu pressed Bondi on whether underage girls attended Trump Epstein events. Bondi called it absurd, refused to engage.
Raskin listed every dodge, every ignored survivor, every over-redacted file.
Bondi fired back.
But the moment that mattered was Massie's 7 minutes.
Because Massie is a Republican.
He wrote the law.
He has zero political reason to target a Republican attorney general.
Yet he did, because the evidence left him no choice. That makes it impossible to dismiss as partisan games.
Within an hour, the clip was everywhere. Not just liberal feeds, conservative ones too.
Because Republican catches Republican hiding Epstein co-conspirator crosses every line.
Share this video right now. What Massie did, forcing transparency from his own party when silence would have been easier, is what real accountability looks like. Now here's what's next, because this story is far from finished. Massie and Kana have already warned they'll pursue inherent contempt charges against Bondi, a rare congressional power that could mean fines or even arrest if she keeps stonewalling the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The DOJ has released only 3 million pages out of the 6 million Congress demanded.
That means half the files are still missing.
And if they were willing to hide Les Wexner's name as a potential co-conspirator, what else is buried in the other 3 million pages? Survivors sat in that room demanding answers. Lawmakers from both sides are demanding answers.
And Bondi's response today, attacking the questioner instead of answering the question, just made the problem worse.
Because you can't call a sitting congressman a failed politician for asking about a cover-up and expect the story to vanish.
If anything, it proves his point. Subscribe to this channel right now and hit the bell. I'll track every development as it unfolds. Contempt proceedings, the missing 3 million pages, the next hearing when Massie and Kana get another shot to ask questions Bondi can't answer.
This is not the end. This is the beginning of something much larger. 40 minutes.
That's the gap between Massie catching Bondi hiding a name and the DOJ quietly unredacting it.
40 minutes to prove the redaction was never necessary, that it was a deliberate choice to shield someone powerful. And when that someone is a billionaire, the FBI flagged as a potential co-conspirator in one of the most significant sex trafficking investigations in American history. I caught you red-handed isn't exaggeration. It's documentation.
Thomas Massie walked in with evidence.
He asked narrow, specific, undeniable questions. And when Bondi couldn't answer, he didn't accept the dodge. He pressed.
He repeated. He made her sit in the silence until she had nothing left but personal attack.
That's not partisan drama. That's accountability. And the fact it came from a Republican questioning a Republican Attorney General makes it impossible to wave away. The clip is still spreading. The survivors are still watching. And somewhere in Washington, Pam Bondi is having a very tough conversation with her team about how to explain 3 million missing pages when the congressman who wrote the law demanding their release is watching every single move they make. Subscribe, hit the bell,
Share this.
watch the 2 videos on your screen right now. The truth doesn't stay buried when someone refuses to let it. And Thomas Massie just refused.